Okay, welcome back to my series of videos about the Aerofly RC7 flight simulator for Mac computers. And in this video, I'm going to talk about takeoffs. I'm going to use a Clamato aircraft, which is um, a electric airplane with a nose wheel, very much like any high-wing trainer aircraft. And so the first thing you want to do is to make sure that you can taxi straight down the runway. So I'm lined up on the runway, and I'm going to just push the throttle forward enough to get it rolling. Okay. And I want to make sure that on the runway the trim is good. And that it will just simply roll straight down the runway with no difficulties. So as long as it gets down that far, the trim is fine. If it veers off to the left or right, just adjust your trim. So that's a nice straight roll down the runway. So my trims are centered. I'm going to hit the space bar to get back to here. Actually, I'm going to hit the U button because the first part of taking off is taxiing out. So, and before I taxi out, I always check my ailerons. Aileron to the right aileron goes up. Aileron to the left aileron goes up. Stick back, and the elevator is moving up. And rudder to the right, rudder stick to the right, and the rudder moves to the right. So that's always, I do that every time the airplane right in front of me just before I start taxiing out. So now to taxi out, I'm going to get out here, and very often you want to not taxi just exactly straight down the runway. So I'm going to be on to the, notice I'm on the left side here. I'm sorry, on the right. It's closer to me than to the center line. So I'm to this side of the center line of the runway. And I want to make sure I'm lined up. And to do that, I actually line up, so I'm going to use the rudder here a little bit. Let me make sure you can see my transmitter so you can see my stick. So I'm going to start rolling slowly. Okay. And if it's drifting off to the far side, that's okay. You got plenty of time to take off. Okay. So the first thing I like to do is to make sure you teach yourself how to taxi around, moving the rudder left and right. Okay. Remember, when it's coming towards you, you got to make sure you are steering in the correct direction. Okay. Don't make turns too sharp. Now I'm going to stop here and aim slightly away from me, and this time I'm going to take off. So practice your taxiing before you practice your takeoff. 50% power, 75% power, pull back. You don't need 100% power for takeoff. Okay. And that was a nice successful takeoff. So guess what? We're going to try it again. I'm going to hit the space bar, pull the power back, hit the U button, and I'm going to taxi back out again. So practicing your taxiing is part of practicing your takeoff, because your position for takeoff is important. And I like to aim slightly away from anybody else, that maybe any other pilot that may be standing out here. And if I err, I'm going to err going away from where the pilots are standing. So here we go. Trying again. 50, 75% for the nose up. And I use the aileron you saw there and touch the wing. That probably wasn't real good, but that's okay. We're going to try that again. So I'm going to pull the power off, hit the space bar, hit the U bar, and try that one again. in the transition between taxiing and flying, it's a difficult position. If you're off a little bit, and I probably made a slight mistake on the last one, I should have just gone ahead and gotten the air before I adjusted my flight attitudes. Here we go again. I'm just going to take off straight, pull it back, and now that I'm in the air, I can adjust my direction of control. Remember, you want to fly straight down the runway, okay? Don't get over here and do all this kind of stuff. Just pull back and hit the space bar and try it again, okay? So here we go again. Make sure you make wide turns so you don't tip a wing. And in the transition, just after the nose wheel comes off and you just lifting off, you can use the rudder some, but the best thing to do is do nothing other than pull up and get in the air before you try to make any directional changes with the rudder or the aileron. Okay. And then get a nice turn down the end of the runway. Okay, we're going to pull the throttle back and reset for one last try. So the other thing you should practice here is you start going down a runway, okay, and something happens. You don't know what's going to happen when you're taking off, but something happens, okay, abort. Okay, pull the throttle back and make sure you can control the airplane, keep it away from any pilots. And so part of learning to taxi and take off is learning how to abort your takeoff. Okay. So here we try this again. Oh, I'm in the air. It's okay. I can just land and abort. If somebody calls an emergency, somebody else is flying, and they need to land quickly, and or the engine doesn't sound right, it's going off in the wrong direction, you have to learn to abort. I'll try it one more time showing you. I'm actually going to put in a little bit of rudder sticks. Yeah, my rudder stick's over, and I'm going to take off with that little bit of rudder stick over. Going to go that way. Oh, wait a minute, I don't want to go like that. Just pull the stick back. Stop the takeoff and try again. So if you're learning to take off and the wind starts blowing you, for example, the wind starts blowing you in this direction. Oh, wait a minute, that's no good. I'm going to stop and try the takeoff again. This happens in real flying out there. The wind starts blowing you around and you think you got the takeoff nailed, and you just abort and you go, let's try that again. You can see that I'm dragging the tail on the takeoff like that. You see how the tail's dragging on the ground there, the nose in the air? There's a skid on most airplanes like this. There's a skid back there that allows it to do that. That's okay. Okay? I've got the stick full back, and that's not a real good takeoff. Okay? You can fly it this way, but not for very long, because it's going to stall. So that's not a really good takeoff. Leave the stick all the way back. I'm going to land, get reset. I'll just take off from here. If you have the stick all the way back to get in the air sooner, that's okay, but make sure you let go of that stick after you get into the air. So practicing these kind of takeoffs is important. Practicing your taxi out is important. Getting lined up down the runway and not aiming toward any pilots. And then a nice smooth takeoff like that works a whole lot better. Okay, thank you for watching. And if you don't want to hit the reset button and try your landing, that's fine too. We shouldn't land like that, should we? No. Okay. Well, that's why I'm going to teach landing in the next video. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.